Hi, everybody. It's Kimberly. I am an eternal life student, which simply means human. At the end of the day, that really is the only title that we need. I think people are like walking books. We each have our own story to share with each other. And by doing this, we can grow stronger together and learn. Today, I'm very excited. We're going to be talking about is happiness a choice? And I have a guest speaker with me who will talk more in depth about this topic. His name is Ricardo Vargas. Hi, Ricardo. How are you doing?
Hi, Kimberly. I am great. How about yourself?
Doing good. If you notice my background, I have my happy place is the beach. So I put that as my background. Stick with the theme a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. I love the beach myself, so I get it.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. I'm a simple guy. I like to think of myself as a winner in life. I got up this morning, and I think that a lot of people don't even realize how lucky they are to do that. So, most of my life, um, I'm a hard worker,
Mhm.
and I have a goal in life is to make sure that everyone around me gets everything they want. Um, and I'm going to do that by motivating people and making sure that they reach the goals that they want to fulfill as well. Um, I'm in sales right now, and I think that sales is something that everybody does.
Mhm.
If you were a child and you convinced your parents to buy you a toy, well, that's a sale right there, you know.
Very
So
true.
we're all naturally subjected to that, and as far as what I like to do, I love family. I love relaxing. I love the beach. I actually live at the beach. I
Oh,
live in Myrtle
really?
Beach.
Oh, Myrtle
Although
Beach.
I'm in my house right now, so all you get to see is a white wall.
Ah,
Everybody
does
else
it
can
look
go to
like
the
this a little
beach.
bit?
Right. But that's basically me in a nutshell. What I like to do is really let the person determine who I am and learn who I am as opposed to me telling them who I am. So
Nice.
that's the approach that I take in life.
It's a wonderful approach. I like it. So, okay, so our topic at hand today is about happiness, but it's not that simple. My question is more along the lines is happiness something that we have control over? And if so, why aren't more people happy? And you had answered one of my post topics, so I thought you'd be a great person to talk to about this. If you give me your perspective.
Absolutely. I 100% think happiness is a choice. Um, True happiness is accepting the choices you make and being happy with them. I'll give you an example. You could have someone that digs ditches for a living,
Mhm.
right? And if they choose to do this, if they're truly happy with that choice, they might be happier than some person making $1 million a year doing something they absolutely hate. Chances are the person that's unhappy making $1 million a year, although it seems far-fetched, right?
Right.
Didn't make the choice, right? Didn't make the choice. They're there because outside forces put them in that position.
Mhm.
Um, Happiness is responsibility.
Mhm.
If you take a look at pain and tragedy, um, it's comforting for us as humans to take ourselves out of the equation when it comes to pain and tragedy and believe that outside forces were responsible for it.
Right.
In the same way, happiness, um, we we love to take credit for it, right?
Right.
We like to say, "Well, I was responsible for that." And so, I'm a winner. I'm a success. If we go back in time to when we were cave people, right? At some point, we were the leader of the group, right?
Mhm.
Took responsibility for the success of the group, and if the group was successful, well, then they got all the praise. But if they weren't, well, now they're a target, right? Now the group can stand to eliminate them.
Mm.
So it takes work to be happy, and it doesn't take that much work to step back and not claim responsibility. And it's safe to not choose happiness because now we have the ability to say, I'm unhappy because of this.
Right.
I'm unhappy because of that, and never quite accepting that you're unhappy because you chose to not be happy.
True, very true. I mean, like you said, blame everyone else instead of taking the responsibility for yourself, right?
Right, right,
Um,
exactly.
definitely. And the examples you give are so important. I mean, it is about choice. And people you hear, they say part of that choice is your mindset. If you're going to give up, right, and start blaming people, you're choosing to be that way. But if you're going to fight for it, uh, fighting for it takes more energy, and it's
Absolutely.
easier, right? It's easier to just sit back and do nothing, be comfortable in that sadness because you don't have to fight for it as much.
Right.
But the happiness is worth it. Would you agree?
Absolutely, 100%. It
Yeah.
is worth it because that's what we're here for. We're here to live happy, fulfilling lives and to make sure that everyone around us also, enjoy that fulfillment. That's the point of life, is
Yeah.
to be happy. Reality is though is that one comes with the other. Happiness comes with tragedy and pain, and
Yeah.
um, we we believe that maybe happiness is unachievable, that it's something that is a dream, right?
Hmm.
And so, I mean, if you really even take the word dream or what it represents, a dream is usually a good thing, and
Yeah.
it's usually something that isn't real. It's something that you imagined while you were sleeping, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
it just makes you think, how we think of happiness. Sometimes we think it's something that's unachievable, but it's very much achievable. um, and it starts with you. It starts with your own beliefs, your own mindset.
Hmm.
um, and again, it's about appreciation and being grateful for where you are. There are people that are in much situations that are much worse than we are right now,
Right.
and we don't even really think about that on a day-to-day basis, just doing what we do, our daily routine. And I think it's healthy to kind of stop and be mindful and just realize, what, I'm here, I'm healthy. There's people all over the world that would kill to be in my position.
Yes.
And once you realize that, you're gonna reach happiness, even if it's for that moment.
Yes. I myself have learned, and it sounds like you kind of have a similar mindset where I find happiness in others, not just myself. But I'm not saying that you have to find happiness in other people. There's a difference. What I mean by that is I can hear someone laugh and that makes me happy. You
Right.
know, something along those lines, versus
Yes.
someone else who tries to be around people to make themselves happy. There's a difference in it,
Definitely.
right? um
Definitely.
I think some people get that confused. Just like you said, the person who may have the $1 million job, they're confusing what it is that makes them happy. They think that it's just the money or something like that, and
Right.
that's not what it's supposed to be. And when you realize, if you make that choice to dig those ditch, right? Um,
Right. Right.
you'll be the one singing the songs while you're digging that ditch, where the other one's crying, singing the blues, right?
Crying on a stack of money.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Right.
you know what? Money can only bring you so much happiness. And people, you hear the cliche, I'd rather be crying in a Mercedes or something like that. But it's not the same.
Right.
It affects your whole being, your health, who you're around, how you act, everything.
Right.
Um, so, all right, here's a question for you. Um,
Sure.
again, this is just theory. This is nothing factual. We're giving our perspective only, so people understand. Um, do you think that sometimes it's easier for people to not be happy because they can relate better to people, because a lot of people are not happy? Maybe
Absolutely.
it's almost easier to find unhappier people than happy people, if that was correct, the way I said
Of course.
it. Do you know what I
Of
mean?
course. Of
Because
course. And it goes back to being the leader. When you're the leader, there might be a whole bunch of people underneath you that don't believe whatever you say is going to happen will happen, right? So it takes strength to be the odd person out, you
Right.
know, in a room full of unhappy people. And again, it goes back to a survival trait. When you are amongst like-minded people, you kind of disappear into the background and you're not singled out. And that protects you. You know, from
Mhm.
an evolutionary standpoint, from a primitive standpoint, that's a survival trait. So to go ahead and have the courage to be different
Right.
and say, well, the 20 of you are unhappy, but I'm the happy one. It's for you to make yourself a target and for you to expose yourself to criticism
Mhm.
and all sorts of negative energies that these people might send your way. Um, it is easier to be part of the group, and that's something that we actually learned from being kids too. When we were
Right.
children, we wanted to be part of the group, we wanted to be included, because to be isolated, again, from an evolutionary standpoint, is to be in danger.
Yeah.
So we subconsciously want to be part of the group.
Yes. I think part of it too is it's easier to do with empathy. You can relate to someone's pain probably easier than their happiness if you haven't experienced it.
Absolutely.
Right? So maybe that also may be another reason why it's easier to relate in that regard versus the happiness part.
Right. Right.
Um, okay, so here's another question for you. Um, all right, so would you agree that the symbol for happiness is probably a smile?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But does if someone's not smiling, does that necessarily mean that they're not a happy person?
I don't believe so, and this is a great question, because a smile is the universal symbol of happiness, right?
Yeah.
Very much like the word no, right? If you
Mhm.
say no in any language, they
Right.
pretty much know
They
what
know
it
what it
is you're
means.
saying, right? Right, they know what it means, right? No means no. So a smile is definitely the universal symbol for happiness. Um, the thing is, though, um, happiness is something that you feel from the inside,
Yes.
and it works both ways. You could have someone that is smiling on the outside,
Hmm.
but they're really unhappy on the inside, and they're just putting up a
Yes.
mask, a facade. Um, it really, the feeling of happiness transcends just something exterior. It's
Hmm.
something that comes from within. Um, and we naturally want to smile when we're happy, right? Or when something funny happens, but I don't think it's a 100% concrete, firm thing that you have to smile to be happy. Some people are very much happy and you would have no idea.
Yes.
Um, Excellent question. I love
Oh,
that
thank you.
question.
Thanks. It was something I was thinking about because I know a lot of people who walk around with a smile and they're not happy at all. You know, and I know people who they have scary faces and they don't look like they smile, but they're the happiest love balls in the world.
Yeah,
You know, and like you said,
right.
it's what's on the inside, that transcends and shows how they're feeling. So it's another thing for people to think about. Don't judge someone on the outside, whether they're smiling or not. That's really not telling you what's going on the inside, right?
Yes, 100%.
Thank you. Okay, so okay, what are some other factors? I know you brought up some things about how to be happy.
Being happy, other factors definitely involve your impact in someone's life, right? We
Hmm.
don't live here by ourselves. We very much need people. We're social animals,
Yeah.
whether we want to accept it or not. Some people are very much introverted,
Hmm.
some people are extroverted, some people are kind of in the middle. But at one point or another, you're going to need to interact with a human being, and it happens instantaneously. That human being is going to judge you. They're going to subconsciously determine if you are someone they should include in their life,
Hmm.
someone that brings value, or someone that doesn't, rather takes value. Um, so another factor is the quality of life of the people around you. I mean, can you really be happy with yourself, but then the people around you aren't happy? Is
Right.
that real happiness? I don't think so. I think
Mhm.
happiness is a collective thing.
Right.
And if you can make the people around you happy as well, that's just going to further fuel the happiness fire, and it's going to a snowball effect, if you will. It's just going to make everything better.
Yeah.
Um, the more the merrier.
Yes, definitely. True. Do you think you can teach someone happiness?
I think that you can make an attempt
Okay.
to establish the fundamentals. Um, just like many things, um, if you set a foundation for someone to build upon, I think it's very possible that you can propel them in that direction. But ultimately, it's their choice if they
Yes.
want to be happiness or not. So you can very much like a master to an apprentice, right?
Hmm.
The master sets the foundation for the apprentice to learn. But if the apprentice doesn't want to continue, they're in control of that, and they can decide whether they want to become a master at the craft or if they want to go elsewhere and pursue something else. So it's there's two sides to the coin.
Yeah,
It can be taught to a certain extent, but then at one point, the student, if you will, has to take the reins and has to take control,
yeah,
and then that's when it's real. It's not something that was um, fortified or um, basically blown up by somebody else. If you understand what I'm saying.
I do. So, okay, so something that I like to think about, I've experienced it myself, where someone can be unhappy, right? And you want to make them happy, right? You're trying to show them happiness, you joke around, you do things. But like you said, it's ultimately their choice. You can't force them to be happy.
Right.
And that's something people have to kind of be mindful, because sometimes it forces people to fake happiness instead of whatever they're really feeling,
Right.
right? But
Right.
at the same token, you can show them how, you can give them tools, you can support them, and then it's up to them to make the choice, right?
Right.
So we were talking a little bit earlier before we started, and you were mentioning about exercising for happiness. Uh, can you tell us a little more about that?
Absolutely. I think everyone should exercise. I should exercise more myself. I'll be the first one to put myself up on the block, right? Um, it releases endorphins, right? And I mean, if chemically speaking, exercise will ultimately make you happy. But in the sense that I was speaking about is motivation and happiness. These things are things that you have to work on. They take effort, they take responsibility. It takes a little bit of responsibility for you to go ahead and say, you know what, today I decide to be happy. Today I'm in control of myself, of my emotions, of my mindset. And it's very much like exercise, because to exercise, you have to take control. You have to decide, okay, well, I'm going to do push ups today, or I'm going to go jogging today. And some days you might not want to do it. Some days you want to do it and it's easy for you. But then those days come along that you just are feeling bleh, you
Yeah.
just don't want to do it. And
Yeah.
those are the special days. Those are the days that make you grow, because you are taking control against the tide,
Mhm.
um and you're facing a challenge, and it's good for you, and the subconscious mind is like, hey, just go back to bed, it's
Right.
okay, you could do it tomorrow. But it's easy, it takes no effort to do that, none at all. You can just go right to bed. It takes real effort to take responsibility and say, I'm going to exercise today. And I think that happiness and exercise are linked in that way, because they both take that responsibility, and it's easier. That's the key. It becomes easier over time when you
Yes.
exercise both of these things. It becomes easier.
Definitely. 100% agree. And I think that's what it is. Over time, you build the tools that work for you, same thing like in exercising, and you get stronger with it, and then it becomes second nature to you, just like a routine.
Right.
You wake up in the morning, you say, okay, today I'm going to have a good day. Okay, let's see what's going on outside. That's something good to look for. You kind of train your mind, instead of looking for negative things, always looking for positive things. And if something negative does appear, okay, how can you face it and use your tools to turn it into a positive thought, or face it
Correct.
directly, right?
Correct.
Okay. So we're going to be ending the podcast soon, just so you know. Okay. I did want to bring up again, along the lines of that happiness actually isn't something that's easy. You have to work for it, right? People think happiness is easy, right? Oh, look at them. They're happy. They're smiling and this and that. But they don't realize all the work it took to get there. Would you agree with that?
I absolutely 100% agree. Yes, I do, Kimberly.
Do you think that happiness and strength are hand in hand because of how much you have to work for it?
Yes, and happiness is strength,
Yes.
because someone that is happy is unshakable
Mhm.
and can face challenges, and they're a resilient person to be happy. Happiness is resilience and strength and being sure of yourself, and you provide value to everyone else around you,
Yes.
and they become confident in you because you are happy, and they have no choice but to be happy with you too.
True, right? It's kind of infectious. You can't help it. You can't be too grumpy when you're around someone who's joking and
Right.
laughing, right?
Exactly.
Eventually, you're
Exactly.
gonna give in.
Right.
Uh, so okay, I'm going to end our podcast, but I didn't know if you wanted to say anything special for our listeners.
Absolutely. It was a true pleasure for you to invite me to your podcast, Kimberly. It is a pleasure and an honor. I create a lot of motivational content. If you guys want to follow me and see what it is that's on my mind, all you have to do is go on LinkedIn and look up Ricardo Vargas Sales Pro. That is my direct link, or you can Google Ricardo Vargas Sales Pro and it'll bring you right to my LinkedIn page. It'd be an honor to have you as a follower. I'll follow you back as well. And it's all about providing value and sharing content and making sure that your voice is heard.
Yes.
And once again, Kimberly, it was an absolute pleasure. And hopefully we can do this sometime again in the future.
I would love to have you back. I'm sure we have plenty of different topics we can talk about. Thank you very much. I just want to let
Thank you.
everybody know to please remember to like and subscribe, and put any comments that you'd like to have us answer. And please be sure to visit LinkedIn, Ricardo Vargas, and you'll be able to see a lot more of what other things he has to teach you. Thank you so much.